Is Tori Amos really a feminist? Hey, it's Prince of Queens, and after the video that I uploaded yesterday about people that self-identify as feminists but probably don't really think all that similarly to the majority of the smash the patriarchy type feminists, I started thinking about celebrities that might have a similar mentality. This soon brought me to Tori Amos, who, if you are unfamiliar, was the 90s piano playing alternative rock star goddess of all goddesses. Yes, as much as it might surprise some people due to my relentless criticisms of feminism, I am a huge Tori Amos fan, as she is actually my favorite singer-songwriter of all time. But of course, I'm gay, so maybe that's not surprising. Tori Amos became popular in the early 90s, not just because she is simply an impeccably talented pianist, singer, and songwriter, but also because she spoke very explicitly about being raped in more than one song. The main one that everybody thinks about regarding her being raped is called Me and a Gun, which is completely a cappella and describes very vividly and disturbingly having a man on her back and thinking that she's going to die. To be truthful, I've never really cared for it all that much. However, the song Precious Things, which is on the same album, Little Earthquakes, is an absolutely electrifyingly epic women's rock anthem that even metalheads could probably get into because it's just an amazingly hard-hitting yet emotional piece of work with stellar production quality. There's a link to it in the video description of this video. I have never heard an interview with Tori where she describes what exactly the song Precious Things is about, but from what it sounds like, it has something to do with being raped by some Christian guy, or maybe even a gang rape, who she seemingly had a crush on and then pined for his attention, only for him or them to end up forcing it on her. Regardless, singing so candidly about these experiences got her a lot of early press, because it was controversial when it came out in the early 90s, and thus solidified her in the hearts and minds of third-wave feminists as one of their eternal icons, because as we know, feminists have always been obsessed with rape. However, as somebody that has listened to her first 4 albums backwards and forwards repeatedly and can sing almost every song with the exact cadence and breath that she does, I have never really gathered that she's really all that much of a feminist, though she does self-identify as one. No, from my understanding of her work, from everything that I've heard about her and from her interviews, she just seems like somebody who happened to be raped and is an honest lyricist that also has a massive amount of feminist fans. And remember, in the early 90s, although there were several awful feminists, it was still generally a lot more passive of a personal label. You see, I've literally never heard Tori Amos either in her lyrics or interviews go on about patriarchy, about gender roles, or about how unfair life is as a woman, unlike some other 90s alternative rock stars like Kathleen Hanna or Ani DeFranco. No, Tori Amos has always been, from my understanding, somebody that owns her own mistakes as a woman, like in the song Playboy Mommy, which seems to be about a miscarriage that she had, which I will link in the description as well. It's a beautifully tear-jerking song. It's absolutely gorgeous. I love it. But much more than that, Tori Amos loves and appreciates men, including some rather haunting characters like Trent Reznor of Nine Inch Nails, whose album Pretty Hate Machine she refers to in the song Caught a Light Sneeze. I don't know if she really likes him all that much, maybe she actually dislikes him at this point, but she referenced him, so who knows. I believe she had some sort of romance with him, so maybe she just has issues, but I mean, it's different than being a lesbian that hates men or something, which maybe some people think that she would be, but she's not. She's also very close with Neil Gaiman, that is famous for writing the comic book Sandman. More than that, I Googled Tori Amos feminist, and I came up with a few interviews from just a few years ago where she not so subtly implies that she's isn't particularly thrilled about the current state of feminism. I'll read the most notable paragraph. Well, look, if you're a real feminist, in truth, then you're a humanist, because it can't be about the matriarchy that just supplants the patriarchy. It has to be about humanity and equality for all, and that to me is the seed of spiritual feminism. Now, feminism came out of a place with the suffragettes and issues that completely and absolutely needed to be addressed at the time and still need to be addressed in certain parts of the world. I'll link in the description the blog that I found that on, because she says some other stuff about how she loves and cares about men, which I think is extremely important. From what it sounds like to me, Tori Amos self-identifies as a feminist, but she's certainly more egalitarian than anything, and I am willing to guess she knows exactly the type of feminist that people like myself talk smack about in my videos. But of course, I can't do anything but guess about what she really thinks because I've still never met her, though I did try to meet her at an autograph session in New York City about 15 years ago, but the line was too long. I would have waited, but they literally cut off the line. Still, if she somehow listens to this, I'd love for her to know that she was one of my main inspirations musically and that her vocal layering techniques was something I kinda ripped off, and I want to give her credit, though I know a lot of it was sort of inspired by Kate Bush, who I also adore. That's all I have to say for this video. I'm gonna go listen to some of her songs for old time's sake. Stay tuned.